Yeah, what's
Good
happening?
morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much indeed, Martin. So, welcome councillors to this meeting of the council, taking place with councillors and officers and our public speakers attending remotely. This is a public meeting being streamed live to YouTube via the council's website. So please, can I welcome all of those joining us via the live streaming. The meeting is being recorded for the purposes of the minutes. And as you've heard, the live stream is now up and running. I've been advised that's up and running. So if for any reason at any stage the public can no longer hear or see the meeting over the live stream, we will need to adjourn until the connection is re-established. Can I please politely remind members of the meeting etiquette, which is basically that cameras should please be on throughout the meeting, but mics muted until such times as you're invited to speak. If you wish to speak on an item, please indicate this by using the chat function and/or by raising your hand. I will ask the facilitator to advise me if there are any members who wish to speak that I've not spotted. There'll also be captioning throughout the meeting, so I should be able to capture from there most of the time, and you'll be able to see that you've been noted that you wish to speak. Can I please remind all members to adhere to the council's procedures when they do speak, because they also apply to virtual meetings. In terms of practicality and safety, can I ask you and remind you, you do not need to stand up. Thank you when you speak. So I'll now invite Nikki to confirm who is in attendance at today's meeting, please. Over to you, Nikki.
Chair, just to confirm that all members of council are in attendance, apart from councillors Dan Salt and Tracy Cannon. All members have checked in to confirm that they can see and hear the meeting. Also in the meeting room, you have your statutory officers, the monitoring officer, the section 151 officer and the head of paid service, and the council strategic directors, members of the governance team who will support this meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed, Nick. Right. So we now come to the first item on the agenda, which is apologies for absence. I have not personally received any apologies for absence at this stage in advance. Are there any apologies? Yes, Councillor Ross Walker, please.
Thank you, Chair. Tracy's trying to get in. She's just got an appointment at the minute. She may try to get in later, if that's okay.
Thank you for letting us know, Councillor Walker.
Cheers. Thank you.
Are there any other apologies, please? Yes, Nikki.
We've received apologies from Dan Salt in advance of the meeting.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, so we now move on, if we may please, to item number 2, which is declarations of interest. Members who have interest should by now have declared those to the governance manager in advance of the meeting. Just a reminder that we will consider the budget at today's meeting, and I'd now like to invite Sarah, the monitoring officer, to give some advice on the declarations that need to be made. So Sarah, would you like to speak on that topic, please?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this is a reminder of interests that may arise. It is, of course, for individual members to decide if these interests apply to them. Firstly, if a member is 2 months or more behind on their council tax payments, they will not be allowed to take part in the vote on any budgetary matters and must declare this at the start of the meeting. And please note that not doing so is a criminal offence under Section 106 of the Local Government Finance Act 1992. Secondly, if a member is a tenant in a council-owned property, they must declare an interest in any item relating to the budget setting process. However, they will still be permitted to speak and vote on the item. So it's important we know who you are so we can just record your interest in the minutes. Members are also reminded that votes on any item relating to council tax or the budget will be taken by roll call and recorded in the minutes as a requirement of the Local Authorities Standing Orders England Amendment Regulations 2014. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed, Sarah. So having heard that, Does anybody wish to? Yes, councillor Fritchley.
Yeah, I'd just like to declare, Chairman, that I pay a service charge and a ground rent for leasehold property at Bolsover District, belonging to Bolsover District on a 100-odd year lease. And I don't know whether I need to declare that, but to be on the safe side, Chairman, I have done.
Thank you very much indeed. Are there any other members? Councillor
Yes.
Sandra Peake.
Thank you, Chair. I forgot to ask my husband this morning if we was up to date, so I'd better declare an interest just in case. Thank you. Should be, but just in case.
Thank you. Councillor Chris Kane.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'd just like to declare an interest on motion of 7B that's been put in by Nick Clark, but I think it's not significant to me. It's a different type of hunting altogether. I just wanted to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Kane. Are there any other councillors? Just Nicola Carver, yes. Councillor, yes, Councillor Graham Parkin, please.
Morning, Tom. It's to do with the capital strategy report. On page 70, there's a mention of Lloyds Bank being the bank of the district council. I do hold a small amount of shares in Lloyds Banking, so I thought it would be better to let you know.
Thank you. Councillor Janet Tate.
Yes, I recently moved house, and checking my bank statement the other day, there isn't any council tax been taken out for a couple of months. I phoned the council, sorted it out. They plan to take a payment, but I don't know if I need to declare the fact that I'm behind with the council tax, not through any fault of my own.
Right, thank you very much indeed. I'll bring you in a minute, Sarah. I thought I'll let all councillors speak and then you can respond. Okay, Sarah? Right, so Councillor Dooley. Councillor Mary Dooley.
Yeah, there seems to be a technical issue in the leaders' meeting room.
Okay.
See if there's anybody on site who can resolve that.
Okay, well, while we're waiting for that to be sorted, would you like to come back on some of those, Sarah, to give those members the appropriate response? Thank you.
Yes, Chair, most of those are just a matter for recording. In relation to the council tax arrears one, and Councillor Tate, I'm afraid the legislation is strict. If you are in arrears for 2 months, you are not allowed to vote on the budget. So I don't know your personal circumstances other than what you've said, but you have to bear that in mind, that if you're in 2 months in arrears, you cannot take part and vote. Can I also remind members to let us know if they are residents in a council house, so that we can again record that in the minutes. And again, it doesn't stop you speaking and voting.
I suspect that Councillor Dooley, who's had difficulty contacting this, might actually fall into.
We have now been switched on, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Mary.
Well, I'd like to declare an interest on agenda item 9. I am a council tenant.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank
Mary.
you.
Thank you. Right. Does that cover all declarations?
Chair.
Sorry. Yes. Councillor Rose Bowler, my apologies.
It's okay. Yeah, Chair. Agenda item 7C, the motion on the county council pension.
You're just declaring an interest.
Yes.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, Councillor Clive Mosby.
Yeah, I'm in receipt of a county council pension, so I don't know whether I need to, record that as well.
Oh, well. Sarah, I too am in receipt of a county council pension as a retired teacher. I hadn't even considered it, but like Councillor Mosby, I would now welcome your learned and wise words.
I suspect there's not many of us in the room who aren't affected in terms of having a pension or contracting for a pension. I think it's remote, and no, I wouldn't record it.
Thank you. Councillor Sandra Peake, are you all right with that, Sandra?
It was the same as you, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Thanks a lot. All right, hopefully we've covered all ends up, but if you're not sure at any stage, please ask. And nobody minds somebody asking. Could I just, are we all happy now that we've been through that phase? Okay, that's lovely. All right, so I need to go back, and that's lovely. All right, so now we move on, if we may, please, to item 3, which is Chair's announcements. So, honoured day members and members of the public, when as a nation we celebrate the life of Captain Sir Thomas More, please can we now spare a few moments to remember those Bolsover residents and all those across the country who have been impacted by this dreadful virus with a few moments of silence. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Much appreciated. And now, the last thing I just wanted to very politely remind all people attending virtually, just be mindful if you've got mugs or anything on the wall behind you that's got a logo on, make sure it can't be seen, please, because we're not supposed to be advertising in any way, shape or form. Thank you very much indeed. So now, if we may, we'll move on to item number 4, which is minutes of the last meeting. Can we approve these minutes of the last meeting, please, as a true record? I'm happy to move that. Can I?
I'll second it, Chair.
Thank you. That's been seconded by Councillor Chris Kane. Right, I will now ask Nikki, the governance manager, to put up the vote for that, which we're doing just remotely for that. Thank you. If you could vote now.
Members, you'll see on your screen an electronic poll asking you to consider whether you would like to approve the minutes of the last meeting held on 9th December. If you could kindly vote for, against or abstain. Just a few more votes still to come in, Chair.
Thank you.
I'll stop the polling there and I'll share that on everybody's screen. So you can see that is carried, Chair, with 29 votes for.
Thank you very much indeed. We may now, we'll move on to agenda 5, or agenda item 5 would sound better, which is questions from the public. And I can report there are no questions this morning from members of the public. We'll move on to item 6. And that again is members from questions from members. I can confirm that this morning we have no questions from members. So we are going to move on, if we may please, to motion to agenda item 7, which is motions. And this morning we are going to consider 3 motions labeled 7A, B and C, and we'll take them in turn. So I'm now going to invite I'm just going to be quite clear, yes. So before I invite the first proposer to speak, in the interests of voting transparency and accuracy, I would like to ask members, when we do conduct the votes on these, would you please try and keep your arms raised for at least 20 seconds so that we can ensure that the officers can conduct the account accurately, because they have to flip between 2 screens because we can't fit every single member on 1 screen. We manage 25, but there's more than 25 of us present. So please be patient with the voting. That's preferable for motions like these than having polls done electronically. It's only right and proper. These should be done by show of hand. So now, having said that, could I now invite Councillor Steve Fritchley to move the first motion? Councillor Steve Fritchley.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Good morning, colleagues. And, you know, I've been on Bolsover District Council since 1987, and I've never ever once known it to be prejudiced in any way. So when I was asked by the all-party parliamentary group on Muslims to, perhaps clarify and demonstrate our commitment to this, to tackling Islamophobia in all forms, I was quite pleased to do so. And I'm asking everyone to support the wording at the bottom of page 14, which is Islamophobia is rooted in racism and is a type of racism that targets expressions of Muslimness or perceived Muslimness. And as I say, Bolsover District Council, I think it is proud of its anti-prejudice tradition. So I would formally move, Chairman, and await members' comments. Thank you.
Councillor McGregor would second.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor McGregor. And good morning, because I forgot to say good morning to you earlier. Right, so are there any members who wish at this stage to speak, please? I can see no requests on screen. Have you had any requests, Nikki?
No, Chair.
Thank you. In which case, is it your wish, members, that I then move to a vote, please? Yes? Right, so all those in favour of the resolution, please indicate and keep your arms raised when you are voting, please. Okay, Nikki.
Chair, I make that 30 votes for.
Thank you. All those, are there any against, please? Are there any abstentions? Then that is carried unanimously. Thank you very much indeed, members. It now is gives me pleasure now to invite Councillor Nick Clark to move the second motion this morning. Councillor Nick Clark, please.
Thank you, Chair. This motion has attracted considerable interest, not only for those who are in favour of banning the trail hunting, but also those who are opposed to such a ban, namely the Countryside Alliance and those of the hunting fraternity. Let's not beat about the bush here. The Countryside Alliance are an unelected, self-appointed, pro-blood sports political lobbyist group, nothing more. They are not the guardians of the countryside that they claim to be. They were formerly known as the British Field Sports Society, a name change made to disguise their real strategy, which is to wrap up hunting in the rural fabric, because they know that the majority of the public, 84%, hate hunting but love the countryside. So they changed their name to give themselves a veneer of respectability. As a body elected to represent the residents of Bolsover, we should not be dictated to by a business with a vested interest in promoting blood sports. As you all know, the Countryside Alliance issued a press release, which was published on the 28th of January in the Derby Telegraph, criticising this motion and bestowing the label of class war rage upon myself. They also sent a letter to the leader of the council, which he has circulated to all members. This letter is disingenuous, to say the least, and full of misinformation and implied legal implications which the council could be subjected to. It quotes case law, which actually precedes the Hunting Act of 2004, so is not pertinent to this motion. The context is different now, and it's about preventing illegal activity, protecting animals and the environment, and ensuring public safety. The letter was deliberately designed to intimidate, a favoured tactic of the Countryside Alliance. Hopefully, fellow members here today will have seen through the intimidatory nature of the letter. There have also been several emails from those who are opposed to hunting and support the proposed ban. Hopefully members will have had time to read the emails and view the attached links which expose the lies and claims of our Countryside Alliance. The letter also attempts to sugarcoat the actual activity of trail hunting, describing it as the lane of a scent which the hounds search for and follow using their noses. This couldn't be further from the truth. If, as they claim, a scent is actually laid, why is it that it crosses railway lines, highways, cemeteries, public parks, private gardens, etc.? Why would they lay a scent where it is known that foxes and hares are active? The real reason is because they know they are deliberately pursuing and hunting a fox with a pack of hounds, which is illegal under the legislation of the 2004 Hunting Act. Also, if they're only laying a scent for the hounds to follow, why is it necessary for the presence of terrier men with terriers in boxes on their quad bikes? Their purpose in life is to block up foxes' earths and badger sets to prevent foxes going to ground. Supporters of trail hunting claim that it's a traditional activity and should be preserved. This is yet another misnomer. Trail hunting only began in 2005 in an effort to get around the 2004 Hunting Act, so it can hardly be considered as being traditional. It used to be traditional to bait bears and also used to be traditional to burn witches at the stake, but those traditions have long since been consigned to the pages of history, as trail hunting should also be consigned to the annals of history. Trail hunting is not recognised as a sport by Sport England, so the hounds cannot therefore be recognised as working dogs and therefore are not exempt from Section 27 of the Road Traffic Act, i.e. control of dogs on the roads, which clearly states a person who permits a dog to be on a designated road without a dog being held on a lead is guilty of an offence. As trail hunting is not registered or recognised sport, the hunts are guilty of a breach of the Road Traffic Act. As recently as November 2020, the Grove and Rufford Hunt, who have a reputation of intimidating behaviour and violence towards hunt monitors and saboteurs, were active in the Scarcliffe area of Bolsover, not necessarily on council land, but in the district of this council. It is not inconceivable when hunts are operating in Bolsover district, they will spray onto council land. This motion is designed to assure that does not happen in the future. In October 2020, new rules came into force across the district of Bolsover. A dog management public space protection order was introduced to help enforce responsible dog ownership in public spaces. Dogs will be excluded from entering public roads at all times. As dogs from hunt packs are not working dogs, as trail hunting is not a recognised sport, this PSPO would also apply to them. There are 5 requirements for owners to adhere to: removal of all dog waste immediately from all public spaces across the whole district, keeping dogs on a lead on a public road, pavement, pedestrianised area, churchyard and cemetery at all times, no more than 6 dogs under your control at any time, and whilst in charge of dogs, to carry appropriate bags or receptacles to remove dog waste. This motion will strengthen the dog management public space protection order. There have been numerous cases recently where the activities of hunts have attracted media attention, such as the killing of a pet cat in the garden of its owner in Bakewell in December 2020 by hounds from the High Peak Hunt when the hounds were out of control. In November 2020, hounds from the same pack were witnessed pursuing a calf through the fields of a farm in Herdlow. Footage of that incident has been passed to the police and the RSPCA to ascertain if any legal action is possible. These are not isolated incidents. The behaviour of hunt followers, especially towards those who attempt to peacefully monitor and disrupt the hunts when they are illegally pursuing the fox, is well documented. 6 major landowners have suspended trail hunting on their land since the training webinars were released last summer. This follows a League Against Cruel Sports campaign that saw supporters send more than 120,000 emails to major landowners in England and Wales to ban trail hunting on their land. The landowners that have suspended licences are Forestry England, the National Trust, United Utilities, Lake District, National Park, National Resources Wales and the Church of England. Fox hunting or trail hunting is not a sport. It is unadulterated bloodlust. For a sporting contest to be considered equal, participants must be evenly matched. This is clearly not the case for trail hunting. The odds are stacked against the prey, the fox. Earths and badger sets are blocked in advance of the activity. It is pursued to the point of exhaustion over a considerable length of time by a pack of hounds before being torn apart. In no way can this be considered as humane. Any individual who takes pleasure in such an act has a severe psychological disorder. The argument that hunting is unnecessary as a form of pest control is also flawed. During the 2001 foot-and-mouth epidemic, when hunting was suspended, there was no discernible increase in the fox population, which had the claim been true, there would have been. In fact, it is known where there are a shortage of foxes, packs import them into the area to continue their activity. So why are we debating this issue today? Last summer, leaked training webinars from the Hunting Office became public knowledge, which showed that those who hunt are deliberately breaking the law and breaching the 2004 Hunting Act. These webinars show that they fully understand the law enough to know how they flout it, and they fully comprehend what they're doing is illegal. The motion is as follows. Bolsover District notes that fox hunting, deer hunting, and hare hunting with dogs has been illegal under the terms of the Hunting Act 2004 except where an exemption applies. Most registered hunts now claim to be trail hunting, an activity invented after the ban, which allows hunts to claim any chase of a wild animal is purely accidental rather than intentional. This is shown to be nothing more than a smokescreen in an attempt to deflect from the real truth, which is that trail hunting is in reality illegal fox hunting. Trail hunts were genuine. There will be no need for the presence of terrier men who shore up fox earths and badger sets to prevent foxes going to ground. Last summer, there were a series of training webinars where senior members of the hunting fraternity openly admitted how they flouted the 2004 Hunting Act. This has been suspected for many years, but has now been confirmed. It has been admitted by the hunting fraternity themselves that trail hunting, where the chase of a wild mammal occurs, is a deliberate, pre-planned and intentional rather than accidental, as they falsely claim. In order to prevent any illegal hunting on council-owned land, Bolsover District Council will ban all trail hunting, hound exercise and hunt meets in the district of Bolsover with immediate effect. This motion calls on the leader to write to hunt masters in and around the district, neighbouring districts and Derbyshire Constabulary, making it clear that while investigations into trail hunting are ongoing, hunts will not be permitted to cross public or council-controlled land or cause a nuisance on public highways within the district of Bolsover, and that will expect any such encroachments to be investigated expeditiously and prosecuted to the fullest extent. I urge all members to support this motion, and I also request a recorded vote. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Nick Clark. Does the motion receive a seconder, please?
Seconder.
Councillor Ross Walker had his hand raised first. Do you wish to speak, Councillor Ross Walker, to it? You're muted, Councillor Walker.
So I'll speak later after everybody else has spoken. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Tom Kurgan, did you want to speak?
Yes, please. Thanks, Chair. I'd like to just say that the Countryside Alliance has raised the common misconception about Bolsover, saying that a Labour member proposing a trail hunting is about class. It's right that the former MP once said that a ban of fox hunting is for the miners, but today in Bolsover we have ex-miners, we have a Conservative MP and a council made up of majority independent and Conservative members. In Bolsover, we're proud of our countryside, our network of nature trails and country parks formed from old pit sites. And this vote is not about class, it's about how we view and want others to view our district. As a council, we've voted in large majorities to protect animals, restricting fireworks sales, and supporting this motion will protect animals even further. The pandemic has brought home the value of local open spaces to our communities, and supporting this motion affirms our commitment to the protection of them. And finally, we're the voice of our electors, and it's been stated a vast majority of the public support a ban on trail hunting, and this has been reflected in the correspondence myself and I'm sure other councillors have received. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Kirkham. Would any other member who wishes to speak at this stage care to indicate, please? I have noticed that Councillor Hoy asked to speak, but I'm not sure if it was on this particular motion. Councillor Hoy, did you wish to speak?
Not on this motion, Chair.
Thank you. I'm sorry I missed you earlier. Anybody else wishing to speak on this motion at this stage?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, sorry, who's that?
It's Councillor Josbury.
Right, so I've got Councillor Josbury and then I've got Councillor Tricia Clough. So Councillor Josbury first, please.
Right, I think that this should go further. I think the council should be writing to government to ban this trail hunting altogether. It's barbaric. It's the trail hunters don't discriminate whether it's a pet or a fox or they're just following a trail. And I think it should be banned throughout the country, never mind just in our district. So I would support the motion to ban it in our district completely. But I also think that the leaders should be writing to government and supporting that it be banned altogether, especially if there's 84% in the country that would love it to be banned. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Josbury. Councillor Tricia Clough.
Thank you, Chair. I received an email just before I came into this meeting, and I'd like to read directly from the email. And this is from residents within our district. We ourselves have had problems with the Barlow hunt, allowing their hounds to be out of control in the centre of the village. On more than one occasion, we have had their hounds running all over our garden, frightening our grandchildren. During the last incident, 2 of the hounds became stuck when they fell down the disused railway cutting adjoining our garden. Their yelping was pitiful, and a neighbour whose garden they had also been on went looking for whoever was in charge of them without success. We did contact the police as well as the Barlow hunt. The police advised that there had been a number of incidents in the area and action was being taken. We were very surprised that they should choose or need to bring the hounds all the way from Barlow to exercise in Scarcliffe, which is what the master told us they were here for. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Love. Just a polite reminder to all councillors, just to remember that when you do speak, you should just simply say, remind members of the public and other members of the ward you represent. I don't want to be finicky, but that is all part of the protocol, if you don't mind. Sorry.
Thank you, Chair.
Not you personally, Tricia. Lots of people have done it, so don't worry. Oh, and I'm Chair, Councillor Munro, Chair, Whitwell Ward. Just in case. Yes, Councillor Ross Walker.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to emphasise I support this motion fully. I think if it's all right with Nick, we could take it a little bit further and ask our MP, if this motion does go through, to support Bolsover District. He does represent us, so could he not support us at government and put this forward? I've actually looked at the 2004 Hunting Act, and there is a slight clause in it. The Act does not cover the use of dogs in the process of flushing out unidentified wild animals. I think we all know what unidentified wild animals they may be targeting, but if we could bring that to our MP and let him represent us at Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Walker. Is there anybody else wishing to speak before we move to a vote? Councillor Fritchley wishes to speak. Councillor Fritchley to the council.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Nick's quite right, and I spoke to Nick about this last week. And I'm a great believer in free speech, really am. And I defend anybody's right to say what they want to say. And, you know, I've looked through this motion. I've also sought advice, especially when I received this letter from the chairman of the Countryside, or chief exec of the Countryside Alliance. And I sought legal advice. And Sarah, who's here, will probably might want to comment on that. There's certain things we can do, certain things we can't do legally. But, you know, I mean, I take on board everything that's been said. And personally, I think it does need to go further. We do need the lawmakers in Great Britain to study this and study it in a proper fashion. I mean, we've got claims being made, and I don't know whether it's true or not. We've got claims to the opposite being made. I don't know whether that's true or not. And, you know, Derbyshire is a rural district, and it would be interesting to get this debate run properly, a big debate in Derbyshire. And also, you know, we'll seek advice, or we'll seek, not advice, but we'll seek assurances from all the MPs in Derbyshire that they're going to raise this in Parliament. So personally, Chair, I mean, I'll write to all and sundry, you know I will. I'll do council's bidding. And but what I would do is urge a big debate. I'd propose perhaps a procedural motion, Chairman, you know, and adjourn it sine die, and or side die in local vernacular, and for it to come back, and we'll take part in a big debate, a Derbyshire-wide debate and a national debate, because this is what members are saying. I mean, Ross Walker said it, Andrew Josbury said it, Nick Clark. I think you know, as part of his motion, he wants me to write to all and sundry. This, as I say, there's some things we can do, there's some things we can't do legally. I think we own about 5.5 acres of land anyway. We can't ban anything on public roads because that's down to another authority. But the sentiment is there, and if you'll accept it, Chairman, and you know, members support it, I'd write on council's behalf expressing the sentiments enshrined in this motion and bring it back later on after a big debate, Chairman, or we take part in that big debate. So if you'll accept either an amendment or a procedural motion to adjourn sine die, subject to my writing on council's behalf to districts and county and everyone else within this motion, Chairman, including all the MPs.
Right, thank you very much indeed for that. I'm going to ask the monitoring officer if such a procedure is allowed, first of all, taking guidance.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, motions and amendments that can be raised without notice, including one to adjourn a debate, and indeed a reason's been given.
Thank you very much indeed. So the first thing I'll do is, out of courtesy to the mover of the procedural motion, is ask if there is a seconder to the procedural motion.
Councillor McGregor speaking. I would second the motion because I think there has to be a wider influence on the animal cruelty nationally, not just in Bolsover District Council. I hear the comments that Nick has made, and to his credit, he's put a case forward in terms of locality. But Derbyshire has got two, or certainly Bolsover District Council, there are two major landowners. The leader has already mentioned about the very small amount of acreage that we hold in terms of mostly car parks, to be honest, and allotments. And I think it would have a bigger impact in Derbyshire in entirety. So with the MPs that Tom had mentioned earlier and others, I think they should be standing up, stepping up and airing their views on whether they support fox hunting as per se, not just on the trail one. So I will second Councillor Fletcher's.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor McGregor. I did notice earlier, so forgive me, I know that Councillor David Dixon has indicated he wishes to speak, but I do think, did Councillor David Downs, did you wish to speak earlier? No, you didn't. Okay, Councillor David Dixon first then.
Yes, Councillor David Dixon, representing Barbara Ward. Yeah, I agree with the Steve Fritchley's suggestion. I think it is a national thing. I think it's fairly unfruitful to simply look at Bolsover District Council. It does need to be discussed on a wider basis and up to national level. So,
thank you very much indeed, Councillor Dixon. Are there any other members wishing to speak? Councillor Ross Walker wishes to speak again.
Thank you, Chair. The original motion, Steve's wanting to adjourn it. Can we not start with this motion where, as a council, we're leading the way, we're making decisions on behalf of us residents? I'm sure everybody's been contacted or got letters supporting Nick's motion. I think the first stage, just to show and let the people know that we want to stop this. So I don't agree with amendments or moving this motion or delaying it. I think it needs to go ahead now, and let's start showing people what we can do as a council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know, Councillor Clark, that you wish to speak, but can I suggest that at the moment you might just want to hold fire and use your chance during summing up? Okay, I don't want to deny you that final chance. Councillor Josbury again.
Yes, Chair. Councillor Josbury, South Normanton. I can't understand why we can't do both. I don't know why we can't accept this motion now and also have the leader contact everybody and move that forward as well. I don't know. I can't see why we can't do both. Get things moving to start with, set a precedent, perhaps.
Thank you, Councillor Josbury. Councillor Peter Roberts.
Councillor Peter Roberts, Whitwell Ward. Yeah, I agree with Andrew. Why can't we do both? It just makes sense to me to do both. All right, that's it.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. So anybody else wishing to speak? Councillor Janet Tate.
Yes, I agree with Councillor Joesbury, it's Janet Tate, Shirebrook South. I can't see any reason why we can't do both. I think we ought to make a stand, put this motion through, and then we can subsequently follow up by doing all the other things that the leaders suggested. But I think we should back Councillor Clark's amendment motion in this instance.
Councillor Anne Clark.
Yes, I totally agree with Andrew Joesbury. We need to be moving this forward. We've had enough representation from the people that we represent that they want this to go ahead. We can do both at the same time. But Bolsover District Council needs to be sending out a clear message saying this is, we support Mick's motion. By not doing so, it sends out mixed messages.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Clark. Councillor Kane.
Yeah, Councillor Chris Kane, Shirebrook North Ward. Yeah, I've been listening to this, Chair, and I don't agree with some of the things what been come out by Nick Clark. I don't think that we can ban it through Bolsover district area because we haven't got the powers. We haven't got the powers to enforce it. We've got no ground that any activities take place on. So I'm just curious on why we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're messing about with something like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kane. Councillor Maxine Dixon.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Maxine Dixon, representing Barbara. I agree with the leader. So far, we've only heard one side of a story, and I think it's only fair that we should look more into it and get views from the other side as well before we make a decision.
Thank you, Councillor Dixon. Councillor David Downs.
Yeah, just listening to all what's being said, Chair. Councillor Clark, Councillor David Downs, Shirebrook South. Councillor Nick Clark did refer to the National Trust and that they'd suspended all trail hunting on their land. National Trust are part of one of the major arteries of this country that look after the land on our behalf and our residents' behalf. And I understand that back in 2019, Nottinghamshire County Council also banned trail hunting on its land. Now, does this have to go to a county council to be able to put those powers in place, or do we have the opportunity to ban it within our area and then look like the others have said, to get the others around the table to be able to discuss it even further to get it county-wide banned? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor David Downs. Councillor Tom Kirkham, did you want to come back?
Thanks, Chair. Councillor Tom Kirkham, Hucknall Ward. Just looking at the amount of correspondence I've had on this, it's probably been the issue I've received most emails from local people asking me to support the motion. I think it's an opportunity for us to stand up for the people that we represent and vote for this motion through, and we can consult further after it.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to now invite Councillor Steve Fritchley has indicated a wish to speak again. Nobody else at the moment does. So Councillor Steve Fritchley.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be helpful here, Chairman. I mean, I indicated that, there's some things we can do and some things we can't do. And I said, when I proposed this procedural motion, that I expressed a sentiment to this authority. That includes things that we can't do as well as what we can do. And end of day, Chairman, council decides. But I'm sure solicitor will explain that, we can't ban all sorts of things on public roads. We only own 5.5 acres of licensed land. That's like, grazing land and what have you. So, just trying to be helpful, Chair. I'm trying to extend the debate. And I offered to write to everyone concerned, expressing the sentiments of this authority. Now, we can't bring a motion that bans things on public roads or, things like that. So perhaps Sarah might want to explain the legal side, Chairman.
Thank you. Sarah, would you like to come in, please?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the motion actually proposes a ban on council-owned land that is used for hunting. As far as we're aware, there is no council-owned land that is used for hunting, so there's not an issue of enforcement. it is a statement of intent from members if the motion is passed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. So you've heard all of the debate, and now we will presently have to take two votes. The first vote has to be, just like if it were an amendment, will need to be to take the procedural vote first, and then following that, we will take the following vote, which may be the original vote, or the procedural vote will then become the substantive vote. You know how it works. But before we do that, in all fairness, I now would like to invite Councillor Nick Clark to sum up the debate.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, thank you, Chair. I feel that the procedural motion would prevent us sending a message to other councils throughout Derbyshire and throughout the rest of the country that we are taking a stand against this issue of trail hunting, which is illegal. Fox hunting was banned in 2004. Trail hunting was a guise just to get around the ban on fox hunting. And I dispute entirely the remarks from Councillor Kane. It is within our remit, because the government recognises that local authorities can decide whether trail hunting can take place on their land or not, and it is within our jurisdiction to ban it if we wish. Bolsover District Council needs to be showing the way to other councils, and we need to be a proactive council and take a lead on this issue. And yes, we can have the debate afterwards by all means, but we need to be sending a message today to the rest of this county in Derbyshire, where hunting does take place, and it takes place within Bolsover District, not necessarily on our land, but in this district. Scarcliffe is one area recently in 2020 in November where the Grove and Rufford hunt were active, and Councillor Tricia Clough has also mentioned the Barlow hunt also been recently active in this area. As other more organisations ban trail hunting on their land, the hunting fraternity will be looking for land to move their activities onto. We need to be denying that opportunity, and therefore I urge that this motion be passed today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Nick Clark. So we will now move to a vote. So the first vote we will take will be on the procedural motion that has been put by Councillor Steve Fritchley, the leader of the council. So all those in favour of the procedural motion, and again, I ask you when you vote to keep your hands raised so a count can be carried out, please. Thank you. All those in favour of the procedural motion, please show. So I can see one, 2. Have you got those, Nikki?
We make that 20, Chair.
Thank you. All those against the procedural motion, please show. Okay, Nikki.
We're just going to recount that, one moment.
Would show those voting against, please show again, please.
Chair, we're having a dispute on how many members have got their hands up. Just bear with me one moment.
If it helps, I think I counted 11 against.
Sarah, I make it 10. How many do you make it?
Sorry, I consistently make it 8, but as we've said, the pictures do move around. On the basis that the first vote was 4, was 20, we have 8 now. We take abstentions, I think we'll get the final number.
Okay, if you'd like to lower your hands now, can you lower your hands? Thank you. Those wishing to abstain, please raise your hand now. Right, so I can see none on that screen.
No abstentions, Chair.
I can see no abstentions. So now you should have your vote now on the number of members present. So it's
Chair, we make that 24, 10 against with 0 abstentions.
right. So now the procedural motion now technically becomes a substantive motion, right? And that is basically that I would just remind you. So in putting the substantive, putting the procedural motion, the leader has undertaken to conduct a county-wide and national-wide debate on this issue. I presume, leader, as a matter of urgency, having heard the strong voices this morning and opinion. So all those in favour now of the substantive motion, please show. Thank you. You got all of those, Nick?
Apologies, Chair. Just from a technical point of view, when we move the screens around, the pictures do move. So this is where we're just
They do. You
confirming
just have to be aware of those you've seen already. That's all.
We believe the count is 27-4.
Thank you. All those against, please indicate. That's 1.
Chair, I see 1 vote against.
Only 1 vote against. Are there any abstentions, please show?
Chair, I don't see any abstentions.
No, I've not seen any abstentions. So that now becomes the substantive motion has been carried. And can I thank Councillor Nick Clark in particular for all the preparation and research he undertook in bringing that motion to the council. I'm sure it's not the last we've heard about this debate. And hopefully, having done a wider trawl, we can move forward and have a policy. Yes, Councillor Fritchley would like to come back in.
I'm sure, Chairman Nick will provide me with as much information as he can.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Can we move on then, please, to motion 7C? And again, I would like to invite Councillor Nick Clark to move this third motion. Councillor Clark, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. During the last 30 years, the effects on our climate have been noticeable and have accelerated during the last decade with extreme weather events in this country and around the world, causing widespread damage and destruction, leading to deaths and displacement of thousands of people around the globe. Wildlife, natural habitats, biodiversity and the human race are in peril. Eminent societies, both international and in the UK, have warned that unless action is now taken by the governments around the world to reduce harmful fossil fuel emissions in the next 9 years, then we're in danger of reaching an irreversible tipping point. The planet cannot wait any longer. It needs now help now in the form of a radical programme of eradication of fossil fuels, an immediate change programme of renewable energy sources, solar, tidal, wind and hydropower. Bolsover District Council has already prioritised carbon reduction as part of its operation for a number of years. The work carried out in the carbon reduction plan so far is to be applauded. To complement that work, we need to move the pension funds of our employees away from investment companies that still extract fossil fuels. Derbyshire County Council are the responsible authority for administrating the Derbyshire Pension Fund. So as an ethical authority stroke employer, Bolsover District Council needs to call upon the Derbyshire County Council to divest from all fossil fuels and instead invest in more ethical portfolios. The motion is as follows. Bolsover District Council recognises through its carbon reduction pledges the considerable risks from climate change to our planetary life support systems. The Council further recognises the weight of economic evidence from reputable sources, including the Bank of England and Carbon Tracker, that climate change poses a serious risk to returns on investment in tackling climate change. The Council therefore calls on the administrators of the Derbyshire Pension Fund to fully divest from all fossil fuels and to invest in more environmentally and socially beneficial alternatives by 2024 or sooner if possible. I urge all members of the Council to support this motion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Nick Clark. Does the motion receive a seconder, please?
Yes.
Anne Clark.
Anne Clark, Bolsover Eastwood.
Councillor Clark, in support of seconding the motion.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Clark. Right, Councillor Steve Fritchley.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I have no problem with this particular motion because what we're doing is saying that Bolsover recognises that Derbyshire Pension Fund trustees, operators, or whatever they are, need to recognise what Bolsover is fighting for, what the country is fighting for, and all we're doing is actually saying to them, bear that in mind, recognise the mood of the country, the mood of Bolsover District Council. So I'd support it, Chairman.
Thank you very much indeed. Is there anybody else wishing to speak on this motion?
But recognising that some members have, some sort of interest in this. I don't know where. I mean, Sarah said it don't matter, but you never know, because if there's a fluctuation in returns on pension fund, then I don't know. But I don't think it would have that much effect. But members should just be aware of that. But I support this motion, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Is there anybody else from indicating the wish to speak? Yes, Councillor David Dixon.
Yeah, Councillor David Dixon, Barbara Ward. Should this not be left to the people that are getting pensions from this fund? Do we know whether this action would possibly reduce pension funds available in the future if this was enacted? And I really don't see why we as a council, yes, we do need to have carbon reduction, but surely just getting them to move away from investments in fossil fuels may have an impact on payouts in the future.
Thank you, Councillor David Dixon. I'm sure that the motion mover will bear those points in mind when he responds at the end. Councillor Peter Roberts.
Yeah, Councillor Peter Roberts, Whitwell Ward. I don't know whether you noticed, but BlackRock, $6 trillion they invest in the stock market. They're moving away from investing in carbon, but carbon fuels, that is, but they're not doing it quickly because they say it would hamper the economy and growth and various other things. So I don't know about 2024, but certainly if they're doing it, then we've got to look at it, but you can't do it too quickly because that jeopardizes everything. But they did also say that 27 times more likely to be taken any notice of if you start pulling the money. And companies do tend to react to having money pulled out of their investments, which will help in this motion if we do similar. That's my take on it.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Thank you very much indeed. Is there anybody else wishing to speak on this before I invite Councillor Clark to come back in to summarise and respond to any points that have been made? No, Councillor Clark, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. It's been very quick summing up. We should be influencing companies, and yes, there are, we have to be aware of the effect upon the pension fund. But if we don't influence those companies that were investing in fossil fuel extraction, they'll just continue to do so. So we need to be making them think where the money is and move the money away from a fossil fuel extraction economy. We need to be thinking of renewable sources, renewable sources we can invest in, or the pension fund can invest in, and we need to be making sure that they move to more ethical portfolios. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Clark. We now move, if we may please, to a vote. Again, please keep your hand raised to help the counters counting the votes. So all those in favour of the motion, please indicate now. Okay, Nick?
Chair, I can see all but 2 hands raised.
Thank you. All those against, please indicate.
I can see 1 hand raised, Chair.
Right, are there any abstentions? I can see 2 abstentions. Okay, Nick.
3 abstentions, Chair.
Oh, sorry, I missed the third one. Yes, 3 abstentions. Yes, thank you. So the result, when you're ready.
Chair, we actually believe that was 4 abstentions.
Okay, all right.
So that would be 34. Chair, with 30 votes for, that would be carried.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. I'm sure the figures will be reflected in the minutes. Right, if we may now, please, we'll move on, if we may, please, to agenda item 8, which is the medium-term financial plan 2021-22, 2024-25. It now gives me great pleasure to invite the portfolio holder for finance, Councillor Clive Moseby, to present the report. Councillor Moseby.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks for that introduction in it all. It's great. I'm sure most members will be aware that I do talk a lot, and on these occasions I've got a few reports within this council meeting, and I don't really intend to speak much to them at all. This first one we've got then on the medium-term financial plan 2021-22 through to 2024-25. It has been through the executive, and it has been through budget scrutiny. So every member has had a chance really to look at it and, well, hopefully anyway, to look at it and ask any questions that they might want to, you know, at those meetings. However, if there is questions, obviously still take them. But we're to seek the approval of the proposed budget for the 2021-2022 for the general fund, housing revenue account and capital programme as part of the council's medium-term financial plan covering the years 2021-22 through to 2024-25, and to provide elected members really with an overview of the council's financial position in order to inform decision, you know, making in the future sort of thing. The only thing I do want to say is that, you know, whilst we do look in the medium-term plan relatively good over the next couple of 3 years, any changes that's not pre-planned or planned budgets and that, or the budgets that's not being met by increased income to cover the costs, or not being kept within the actual budget proposals that we've got online, will cause us to have to find the money from somewhere else, and that could have an impact on it. So I do urge all members and all officers, if they thinking about trying to increase the budgets, that, you know, to do something, do it, yeah, but let's see how we can finance it and try and finance it at zero cost within it. Really within it all, I've finished at that. Recommendations are on pages 27 and 28, and run through from 6.1 through to 6.12. So there are a fair few recommendations in there. I'll leave it to that, Chair, and see if there's any questions, or if not, if there isn't, I'll move the recommendation after that. Thank you, Chair.
Chair,
Thank you very much, Councillor Moseby. My apologies for not unmuting myself. Also, my apologies to Councillor Moseby for the background noise. I just had a quick choke and sprayed water everywhere. But these things happen to the best of us. So my apologies for that, Councillor Moseby. First of all, is there a seconder for the motion? That's the first question. Yes, Councillor Natalie Hoy seems to be indicating she's seconding. Thank you, Councillor Hoy. Right, so Councillor Ross Walker, did you indicate you wish to speak? Please do. Come in, Councillor Ross Walker. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. It's just a quick question. On page 32, G170, we've got an original budget for it for 0, and now we've got a revised budget of £292,695. Can you just tell me briefly what that is, please, or why it's gone that much?
Can I invite in Teresa Fletcher, the S151 officer, when she's ready, and she will attempt to respond to that for you, Councillor Walker. Teresa, when you're ready.
Yes, did you say G170?
Yes, G170.
It's section 106 monies that we've received that we're going to spend. It's 2021 that we're going to spend them in. That it's a revised budget for 2021. That's what it means.
Right, so thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Walker. Are there any questions or any points anybody wishes to make? I can't see any.
No indications, Chair.
Okay, right, in which case, just to remind members that for this vote, this is a recorded vote, and so there will be a recorded vote, and the process, especially for new members, in case you've forgotten from last year, is that the monitoring officer will call each member in turn and ask you to vote accordingly. So I'm now going to pass over to the monitoring officer, Sarah Sternberg, and invite her to conduct the recorded vote on this item. Sarah.
Thank you, Chair. As the Chair has said, I'll read your names in order. Can you please give me your vote? First, Councillor Adams.
For.
Councillor Bailey. Councillor Bailey.
Still with us.
Councillor Bailey, I'm just giving you a prompt to help you to unmute yourself.
If I might, I'll come back to Councillor Bailey. Councillor Bowler.
For.
Councillor Bryson.
For.
Councillor Bullock.
For.
Councillor Cannon.
For.
Councillor A. Clark.
For.
Councillor N. Clark.
For.
Councillor Clifton.
For.
Councillor Clough.
Councillor Tricia Clough, Old Hucknall Ward, 4.
Councillor Cooper.
For.
Councillor David Dixon.
For.
Councillor M. Dixon.
For.
Councillor M. Dooley.
For.
Councillor Downs.
For.
Councillor Fritchley.
For.
Councillor Heffer.
For.
Councillor Hoy.
For.
Councillor Josbury.
For.
Councillor Kane.
For.
Councillor Kirkham.
For.
Councillor McGregor.
For.
Councillor Moseby.
For.
Councillor Munro.
For.
Councillor Parkin. Councillor E. Parkin.
E. Parkin, South Normanton West, 4.
Councillor G. Parkin.
South Normanton West, 4.
Councillor Peake.
Councillor Peake, Langworth Ward, 4.
Thank you. Councillor Roberts,
For.
Councillor Smith,
For.
Councillor Tate,
No vote.
okay. Councillor, in terms of a no vote, we could put down you as abstaining. Is that what you intend, Councillor Tate?
Sarah,
I'm not
Sarah,
allowed.
I forgot.
I'm not allowed to
Yeah.
vote.
Ah, yes, indeed. Thank you.
Okay.
Sarah, I put my declarations in, sorry. I put my declarations in as well, sorry, I forgot about that, because I wasn't sure.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Turner,
Alderman Cresswell Hobthorpe, for.
Councillor Walker,
For.
Councillor Watson,
For.
Councillor Wilson,
For.
and Councillor Bailey.
Yes, I've got connection now. Councillor Bailey, Clown East, for.
Thank you, Chairman. That's everybody in favour. I make it 32 in favour.
Thank you very much indeed, Sarah. That's very helpful. If we can move on then, please, that's carried. If we can move on now to item 9, which is the Treasury Strategy Reports. And again, I'd invite the portfolio holder, Councillor Clive Mosby, to present the report, please. Clive, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Clive Mosby, Blackwell Ward. Really, again, this has been through, I think it's budget scrutiny has been through. So these strategy reports for 2021-22 through to 24-25 have been there for it all. And really, as it says within the purpose of the report on the the top line, the purpose of the report is to provide the council with the necessary information to approve the authority's suite of treasury management strategies 2021-22 to 2024-25. Again, I'm not going to speak particularly much on it all, and Dave's been a chance to read it through, but Teresa or myself will take any questions there. The recommendations are contained on page 43 of the report, from 6.1 to 6.3. So if there's any questions, we'll take them. If not, I'm quite happy to move those recommendations, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. First of all, are there any questions before I ask for a seconder?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Thank you. It's been seconded by Councillor David Dixon. Right, there don't appear to be any questions, in which case, Sarah, can I ask you to move to the recorded vote, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. As before, I will read everybody's names. Councillor Adams. Councillor Adams?
For.
Councillor Bailey?
For.
Councillor Bowler?
For.
Councillor Bryson?
For.
Councillor Bullock? Councillor Bullock?
Sorry, for.
Councillor Cannon?
For.
Councillor Anne Clark?
For.
Councillor Nick Clark?
Yeah, Councillor Nick Clark, Bolsover East, for.
Councillor Clifton?
For.
Councillor Clough?
Councillor Clough, Alt Hucknall Ward, for.
Councillor Cooper?
For.
Councillor David Dixon?
For.
Councillor Maxine Dixon?
For.
Councillor Dooley?
For.
Councillor Downs?
For.
Councillor Fritchley?
For.
Councillor Heffer?
For.
Councillor Hoy?
For.
Councillor Joesbury?
For.
Councillor Kane?
For.
Councillor Kirkham?
For.
Councillor McGregor?
For.
Councillor Mosby?
For.
Councillor Munro?
For.
Councillor Yvonne Parkin?
For.
Councillor Graham Parkin?
For.
Councillor Peake? No vote. Councillor Roberts?
For.
Councillor Smith?
For.
Councillor Tate? No vote. Councillor Turner?
For.
Councillor Walker?
For.
Councillor Watson?
For.
Councillor Wilson?
For.
Thank you very much indeed, Sarah. My listening tells me, taking into account the two who aren't allowed to vote, that's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed, members. We now move on to item number 10, and I believe possibly the leader wants to just speak about this, or the deputy leader. I'm not sure who wants to come in on this one. It's item 10, which proportionality and changes committee alterations. Councillor McGregor, would you like to come in on this one?
I mean, I'll do it, Chair, if...
Okay, Councillor Fritchley, the leader.
Yeah, on this particular report, I mean, I've looked through different scenarios on this, and you know what it's all about. I mean, you've all read report. We're talking about 1.2 members and all this sort of thing. And I've looked through the formula for running with 2 vacancies. I've looked through the formula where we don't include vacancies, and there's no appreciable difference to what we've got. And when you look at the date, I mean, annual meeting is only a few months away. By the time we've been through this, I'm just wondering whether it's a worthwhile activity. We run as we are, we stay as we are until May, and then we sort it out then. I mean, hopefully by May they might have lifted restrictions on having elections, so we might have a full complement in by the time the annual meeting comes around. But there's no appreciable difference, Chairman. I'm just wondering whether it might be best to leave it as it is and just carry on until May.
Right, you've heard the leader's comments. Is there anybody wishing to oppose that view, given that we're in a situation where that makes sense? I believe Councillor Deborah Watson would like to say a few words. Councillor Deborah Watson.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Councillor Deborah Watson representing Tibshelf. I would support that sentiment. In fact, that's actually exactly what I said to Nicola Carver when she rang me up to ask about any changes we'd like to make to reflect the current proportionality. I was told that we actually have to do it at this point, that it's a legal requirement. If that's the case, then I would suggest we keep item 10 in. But, my instant sentiment is to agree with Steve that, it's a pointless exercise really at this point, but if it's a legal requirement, then let's run with it.
In which case, can I ask Sarah to come in and give us some advice on this? Please, Sarah.
Yes, of course, Chair. It is a legal requirement for you to consider this. There is provision within the legislation for you to not make the changes required and to go with what we have existing. But in doing so, no member of the council must vote against that. So that is a way forward for you to treat what the leader said as a motion with a mover, just take a seconder and to vote on it. But providing it's unanimous and nobody votes against, that will be fine.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for that advice. So Steve, as leader, are you happy to move that we take no action on this item?
Yeah, that's what I got in mind, Chairman. I mean,
thank you.
I agree with what Sarah said. It's got to be considered. But I think it might be a waste of officers' time and our time for such a short wait until the annual meeting.
Thank you.
I mean, I'd like members just to say, yeah, let's carry on. I mean, we've done all right up here. I don't think there's any burning desire to argue over point 2 of a member. So, I'd appreciate full support on this one, Chair.
Thank you. So I'm taking your proposal then,
Yeah.
leader, without putting words in your mouth, is that we agree as a council to take no further action on this item.
I'd second
that, Chair.
Status quo, Chairman.
That appears to have been seconded by Councillor Deborah Watson. And I'm going to move, if I may, members, straight to a vote. You've heard the monitoring officer's advice. If it's unanimously agreed, then we've covered ourselves legally. So all those in favour, please raise your hand and indicate. Thank you. I can see all members' hands raised.
Unanimous, Chair.
Thank you, that is unanimous. Thank you very much indeed, members. So we move on now to agenda item 11, Agenda item 11 is the annual audit letter. And again, that one, the wonderful voice of the portfolio holder for finance, Councillor Clive Mosby.
Yeah, Councillor Clive Mosby, Blackboard. Thank you once again, Chair, for your very admirable remarks. But I'm sure there might be a few members within the well, not in the council chamber, but in the meeting today, may well not agree with you. Again, I'm going to be quick on this. You yourself, Chair, obviously do chair the audit committee, which this report went, or this letter went to last week sometime. It's a good letter as far as I'm concerned, and I would always urge my members to read audit letters. I know they can be very dry, but if you didn't read anything else other than the executive summary, which gives you a brief outline of what is contained further in within the report. So as it says here, this report is here for the council to consider the audit letter in respect of 1920, and it's attached to Appendix 1. Which has been prepared by Mazars for consideration by elected members of the council and other stakeholders. I'm quite happy to move that we accept the report and that. The recommendations are on page 96, and that's at 6.1. So if there's any questions, obviously either Teresa or myself, I'm sure we'll take them, or even maybe a chair. But I would then move that recommendation at 6.1. Thank you very much.
Councillor Ray Heffer, seconding, Chairman.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Heffer. Is there anybody wishing to make any comments or ask any questions at this stage? The only
No indications,
observation.
Chair.
Sorry.
Sorry, Chair. I said there were no indications to speak.
No, the only comment I would make as chair of the audit committee is that it is a very, very glowing report, and it is a credit to our in-house finance team and our internal auditing mechanisms that we have gained such a creditable letter. It's very unusual for auditors to write letters and not find some tiny business to make a fuss about. So congratulations to our finance team on such a splendid audit letter, especially in these difficult times. So with that, we will move. This will just be a vote by a show of hands again. All those in favour of the motion and the recommendations, please show. Thank you.
It's unanimous, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed. It is unanimous. Okay, so that concludes the business of the meeting. So in closing, I'd just like to thank, first of all, members of public who've joined us this morning for their interest and wish them well in these very trying and testing times. And I'd also like, on your behalf, members, to place thanks to all officers and staff of the council for all of their hard work and dedication, not just in facilitating this council meeting, but in everything they do to serve the people of our district so efficiently. Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Ross Walker, did you want to just add anything?
I'd just like to congratulate the people who are dealing with our local businesses with grants. I've been contacted by several businesses in Clown. The first lockdown, things were a little bit tricky, and we were learning by his mistakes. But the feedback I've had off businesses, we are doing an amazing job, and the staff need to be praised. They're absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much, Councillor Walker. I'm sure that everybody appreciates those sentiments and shares them with the contacts they've had in their own communities. I certainly have as well. So with that, can I, members, as we ask now the officer to take us offline, can I remind you that we are going to go on to a meeting of the trustees? I am very much aware that we've now been in session for just under an hour and a half. So I'm going to propose, given that it's 11:25, can we please reconvene as a council, all members, at 11:45 for a meeting of the trustees? That will give you all a chance to have a comfort break. I want one. Yes, Councillor Joseby.
Natalie's been waving at you for about 5 minutes now.
Oh, has she? Can I apologise, Natalie? You've only just come up at the bottom. Sorry, Natalie. Yes.
No, it was the point I was going to make earlier. Unfortunately, you know, with everything that's happened, I haven't been able to formally put this onto our agenda. But yesterday we did all hear the sad news that Captain Sir Tom Moore has passed away. As a tribute to this incredible gentleman and hero, I'd like to ask for support from councillors and the council that we write to the English heritage and have Bolsover Castle turn blue as a tribute to this man. And I would like to hope that I get some support from this and the leader as well, please.
Sarah, are we allowed to have this sort of sentiment expressed?
Yes, Chairman, but it's not on the agenda and all things have actually been dealt with. So if you like, it's informal.
Okay, well, informally, I don't have a problem with it. It's up to the leader if he's happy to do that on our behalf.
Thank you, Chair.
Would you like to come in?
For me?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I'll have a chat to Natalie. As you said right at the beginning, Chairman, you know, nations in mourning for this chap. I mean, to get to be 100 is no mean feat. To take part in various other activities as well is, you know, it's got to be recognised. But Natalie, give me a ring and we'll see what we can do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so we will reconvene if we may. Oh, sorry, Councillor Jim Clifton.
Excuse me, Chair. On the next item, I need to declare an interest, Chair, being a member of Elton with Cresswell Parish Council.
You can do that at the start of that meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm now going to declare the council meeting finished. We'll reconvene at 11:45. Thank you.